everyone. My name is Gail Hooper, and I'm the Clinical Director for the Drug Education Council in Mobile. Excuse me. We are a prevention agency, and we provide services in 7 counties in South Alabama. We are involved with direct services and also with other kinds of programs throughout the communities that we serve. And we know that research shows that the earlier people start to use alcohol and drugs, the more likely they are to develop serious problems with them in the future. And that concerns us because of our young people. We know that young people often start to experiment with things like alcohol, tobacco, vaping, marijuana, and other drugs at a very early age. And this puts them at great risk for developing addiction or other serious issues as they get older. Today, we're going to talk about one of those drugs. We're going to talk about youth vaping. And I have with me today our Baldwin County Coordinator, Mike Cook, and he's going to share with you some information about youth vaping. If you have questions, please feel free to share those in the chat, and we'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. But I'm going to turn it over to Mike and let him get started. Thank you.
As Gail said, my name is Mike Cook. I'm the Director of Services for Baldwin County. And we're going to talk about vaping, youth vaping, and the problems that we have today. But before we can talk about today, we need to talk about how we got here. I've got some slides we're going to talk about. Any questions you got as we go through this, please feel free to just jump right in and let's go. So the truth, how we got here to where we are today. We're going to go back to just plain tobacco, just cigarette tobacco. We're going to start right there. You know, I can talk to you about tobacco. My mom started smoking when she was 14 years old. I lost her at 65 to small cell lung cancer and way too young. But as we get into this, and I'll talk to you a little more about that, but that's where we're going to start with this is with tobacco. Now, when I grew up, had different commercials. If you look at these, if y'all watched the Super Bowl the other night, these are all commercials from the Super Bowl. I must be completely honest. This one right here, I had no idea. My wife had to tell me who that was and what they were doing. But this is commercials that kids are seeing today. Back when we grew up, or I grew up, this is what we saw on TV. Every sports event, everything was sponsored by a cigarette company. Winston Cup, you had, which is the racing. They sponsored everything. So that's what we grew up, and that's what we saw on TV as advertisements when we was growing up. Now this one right here, greatest commercial ever made. If anybody knew who that is, that's Mean Joe Green. That's the Coca-Cola commercial where the little guy gives him his Cocoa and Mean Joe Green gives him his jersey. Great commercial. But for the most part, everything was tobacco related. Now, on this slide right here, you will see that this is the executives of the top 7 largest tobacco companies, and they're testifying before Congress that their products is not addictive, no nicotine, and does not cause cancer. Now, that as you see them swearing there, saying again, not addictive, no nicotine, and does not cause cancer. As these executives exited, they were all asked, "Hey, would you let your kid use your product?" And they all said no. So, you know, it's okay for you, but not for their kids. But again, and that not addictive, no nicotine, and does not cause cancer. I want you to remember those 3 things as we go along through this process. What we got right here, I ask a lot of the younger kids when I'm talking to them, do they know who these 2 are? Nobody knows. The guy on the left right there is the Marlboro Man, and nobody knows who the Virginia Slim lady is. But I asked them, I said, do first thing I ask them, you notice what they're not doing in these commercials? And they all say they're not smoking. That's correct. But these two have something in common, and that thing that they have in common is, remember the three things I told you: not addictive, no nicotine, and does not cause cancer. Well, both of them died from lung cancer. So a product that was not supposed to hurt us and was not supposed to be addictive and did not have nicotine in it, we ended up they ended up having to come out and say yes, that it was addictive, did have nicotine, and it does cause cancer. Now, this is just a number on a board. This number might be a little higher now, but when I did this slide, that's 480,000 deaths every year from a product. And this is just cigarettes. This is just tobacco products. It's 480,000 deaths attributed to cigarette smoking every year. Now, I know that's just a number and that's every year, but I'm going to break it down for you. That's 40,000 people a month, 1,290 deaths a day. So, if any football fans I got there, if I went to Bryant-Denny Stadium, Roll Tide, Jordan-Hare, Tiger Stadium, Ben Hill Stadium, and Stanford, and filled every seat in each one of those stadiums. I can't see my slide here. Gail, can you see that bottom number on that slide? I can't see it.
476, 255.
And what's the number below that?
3,745.
All right, so 3,745. I would need that many additional seats for the number of people that die each year, so I could fill every one of those football stadiums up and still need that many more seats for a product that it was not supposed to be addictive and it was not supposed to hurt us. Now, this is what it all comes down to right here. It all comes down to the money. Money, money, money. And today, with our youth today, they're using old tactics on new products, and that we're going to talk about how big tobacco targets our youth in the vaping market. Now, the one on the right, that's the old Virginia Slim commercial. Look at the vaporizer on the left, the jewel there on the left. Same tactic. Marlboro Man. He's on the left. Blue e-cigarettes is on the right. Now, the only difference is you look in the old commercial with the Marlboro Man, you see he's got a cigarette in his mouth. But the blue, he's actually smoking the product. Now, I think if you look right on the end of the cigarette, I think the Marlboro Man's may be lit, but the blue, he shows him inhaling. Here's just two more that just, you know, they kid it up, they youth it up, they make it look cool. So they're doing their best to try to promote that product to the youth. E-cigarettes. That started it all. And how we got to e-cigarettes from tobacco was that when those people, my mom's age, they started dying, things started happening to them, they started getting cancer. They had to come up with something different because dead people do not buy tobacco products. So they had to come up with something different. And after that, they found out there was nicotine in it, they had to come up with something. So we come out with the e-cigarette. This is basically, long and short, this was your very first jewel right here. If you'll see right here on the end, you got this pretty blue light that absolutely does nothing except it's just smoke and mirrors. Then right here, this is all battery. That's all battery, and the chip is here in the end. And this is the cartridge. This is what contains the nicotine, and that's what gets hot when you inhale on it. Now, the whole purpose of these e-cigarettes was people that smoke tobacco was to get them off of tobacco. So if you were smoking tobacco and you was at 18 milligrams of nicotine a day. The whole process was to walk down this scale and for you to get to zero. Each filter had a different color on it. So as you walk down this scale and you get to zero, the problem come in where there has no nicotine was at that point, you're supposed to not want tobacco anymore. And then therein lies another problem is you're not buying their product anymore. So they said, that's not going to work. We got to do something different. So we come out with vaping. Now this is just several different kind of vapes, different colors. I want you to notice the different colors that they're using right now. This is just a close-up of one of the vapes. Pretty simple concept that they use. This is all battery right here. This is your wattage that you choose to use. It shows you how much battery you have left. This is basically for where you fill in your juice of choice. And this is right here is where you inhale. There is one small paper filter right there that you see that's in the top. That is the only filter that they have. Right there, there's a little white filter right in here. But that is the only filter that has. But that's the basic concept of the older vape. Now that's the one that smokes so bad when you pull up beside it, it looks like the car's on fire. You want to pull up beside it, knock the window out, and use your fire extinguisher. But kind of hard to hide using these because they people that use them is smoking so bad. This is an example of what they do. You see how much when they exhale, how much they smoke. You can't even see this guy. But that's an example of when they use this juice and they exhale. That's a kind of an example of what we're using. All right. The problem with these products is they're big, they're bulky, and they're heavy. This thing right here, you can use it as a vaping device, or you can use it to beat your boyfriend because that's all battery right here, and this thing is heavy. And I mean, so they had to make something smaller. They had to make something that was more concealable. So we come up with Julian. Now look, pay real close attention here to $29.99 to $49.99. This is when we first started. This is what we first started. These little packs like this could be up to $49, according to where you bought it from. But this Juul is pretty simple. You see it charges USB. Stick it in a pencil holder at school or wherever. Never even know it's in there. It looks like it just fits right in there. Short story here. Had a school here. Little girl come home, told her papa that she needed a memory stick for school. Told him where they sold the memory stick of her choice. He went and bought it. Now, Granddaddy has no USB anything at his house. So she takes it to school the next day, plugs it in, and it's a Juul. And she plugs it in, and she gets called immediately. And Granddaddy comes down. First thing he wants is his money back. But we're not in the business of giving money back. But my point there is that the grandparents and a lot of people don't have no idea what these things really are, and that's why they disguise them the way they disguise them. This is just a different kinds of Juuls. They all do exactly the same thing. They just got different bins, but they all work exactly the same way. Now, remember the $29.99 to $49.99. This Enjoy right here. I bought this Enjoy in Baldwin County at a service station for 99 cents. Now, how in the world can a company sell you something like this for 99 cents? Because they can lose their money right here, but they're going to make their money back when you go back to the store and you got to buy that cartridge that goes in here for $17, $18. That's how they can afford to sell you this for 99 cents. Now, in this particular store that I bought this at, you could throw a rock and hit a high school. Now, again, you can't even buy a Coke for 99 cents, but you can buy this for 99 cents. That one pod on that Juul that they're using equals 20 cigarettes. So one Juul pod has the same nicotine equivalent as a pack of cigarettes. So we've been dealing with kids that smoke 2 or 3 of these a day. Now, I told y'all I lost my mom at 65 years old of small cell lung cancer because she smoked these. These kids that smoking 2 of these a day, that's 40 cigarettes. My mom never got to the point that she smoked 2 packs of cigarettes a day. So, that little bitty pod right there is 20 cigarettes. So you just imagine those kids that smoking 2 or 3 of those a day. They're smoking 40, 60 cigarettes a day. It's just another version, goes along with the Juul and then with the puff bars that they're selling now. And basically the difference in that Juul and that puff bar is the Juul is rechargeable. The puff bar has a set number of puffs on it. After that, you throw it away. They're a lot cheaper, and then they can go back and buy another one. That's basically the difference in the Juul and the puff bar. Right now, and again, this number may have changed. There's more than 7,000 different vape juice flavors available, and they have everything from fruity flavors, mango, apple, strawberry. They have dessert flavors, chocolate cake, cinnamon bun, apple pie, tobacco flavors. They have your classic tobacco, caramel tobacco, and menthol, and that's just to name a few. There's just so many out there that you could never name them all, but there, like I said, there's over 7,000 of them. Now, look at these flavors. This is just a few of the flavors that's out there. Skittles. Well, I'm a 58-year-old man, and I'm not gonna smoke no Skittles. And I ain't smoking no Candy King or strawberry cotton candy or none of that. So you got to know the reason and why they make these particular flavors and they color them like they do. And it's not for adults. This is strictly targeting the kids here. This is just a view from one of the shops here in Baldwin County. This is just one view of one shelf that you can see the different flavors, the different types that they use, different types. This is the same store. If you'll see these right here, this F bar, that's really big in the schools right now. We see a lot of these that we take from the kids. This is just the same store, another shelf, another aisle. And just notice how they got them in there, the packaging on them, the color on them, all kid related. They're all youth related products. Now, I don't know if any of y'all have seen these. This is the highlighter vape right here. It's actually a highlighter. It will highlight your paper. It will, it'll do everything a highlighter will do. Plus, you can vape with it. This right here is your USB charger. This right here, what happens is you pop this out, you pop that out, that's your mouthpiece. Got your juice in here. And again, this is your charger. So it's a highlighter and a vape. Now, why in the world would they ever do that? That's in a backpack in a teenager's bag. You would never look at that twice. And we came as far from that cardboard box that them 20 cigarettes was in to vapes and Juuls now that you can play Pac-Man on, you can play Game Boy on. I took one, it's like this one. It's like this one right here. There's like 26 apps on this different vape right here. You can play you can Bluetooth from your phone. You can play music on it. It has an app on there that tells you the proper way to vape, how to inhale, exhale. You can talk on the phone. You can receive calls on the phone. You can play games on the phone. There's 20, so like I said, there's 27 different apps on the one that we took. And it's amazing how far we have came from where we were at with just cardboard and tobacco to the products we got today. Now, secondhand smoke. And look at this guy, regular tobacco cigarette. And just imagine yourself standing outside a restaurant waiting in line to get in, and this guy smoking a cigarette. Well, I don't want to inhale that. I'm sure you don't. However, that compared to that, I mean, you make your choice. I really want to be either one of them, but I mean, look at this guy. I mean, he's like a train coming down the track. Now, imagine inhaling every bit of that.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to ask you to do something right here. I'm going to ask everybody to take a deep breath. Now let it out. Now this time we're going to inhale. We're standing right beside this guy and we're going to inhale. Everybody take a deep breath. Now let it out, but only let the bad stuff out. Leave the good stuff. Can you do that? No, you can't. You cannot. Because if you exhale everything that you inhale, you're dead. Now you see what this guy right here has exhaled. Imagine how much he had in his lungs before he exhaled this. And that ain't all of it. Some of it stayed in there. It's because I just showed you it's impossible to exhale everything that you inhale is bad. Cannot do it. This is an older slide. Shows how in 2014, the company was almost going under. And then you see that's a B for billion. They went from 2 billion and fallen up to a almost $25 billion company. And that was in 22. So, I mean, and most of this, is not going to be adults. This is going to be, younger people vaping. Because if you talk to kids today and you get them one-on-one with them or you get them in a smaller group, they all think that tobacco cigarettes are awful and that they don't want no part of those, but they don't see a problem with vaping. Now, I throw this up there to show you that the difference in a smoker and a non-smoker's lungs. This right here, these little black spots that you get right here, that's that. If you're vaping, them the black spots start out real small, and the more you vape, every time you inhale and exhale, you're getting a little bit more and a little bit more. But I mean, you can see the difference and you can see looking at this bad lung how breathing would be difficult as time goes on, because all that is just awful. Now, the effects of vaping and juuling long term, that we know today, the long term effects. And this is probably the most important slide that I have, and that's it. We don't know the long term effects of vaping and juuling because it hadn't been out there long enough for us to know the long term. It took us almost 100 years for tobacco. And now with vaping and juuling, and unfortunately for vaping and juuling, there's some people going to have to go through some pretty horrific things to know how bad it really is. But I will tell you, like I told you about my mom at 14 when she started, we've had a lot more problems quicker with youth vaping than we ever had with cigarettes. It took a lot longer with cigarettes. Now, I'm not advocating that smoking cigarettes is better than vaping, but I'm just telling you the problems are showing up quicker in vaping than they have in tobacco. Now, this is another big problem that we're having right now that we're seeing in some of the schools is the nicotine pouches. Basically, it's broke down. If you look over here on the right, what those pouches are made out of, nicotine salt stabilizers. Look at this word right here, fillers. That's a wide open, that's a wide open field right there, fillers. But this seems to be taking the place of the old skull pouches. You know, that if any of y'all familiar with those, but this is just a straight nicotine pouch, and that nicotine is laying right on your gum. So there's going to be some problems with this as it goes along. Another issue that we're having right now is this Galaxy gas, this whipped cream charged nitrous oxide cans. We're seeing a lot of those. Those are becoming pretty big issue right now. I mean, you can buy these different places. Most of your CBD shops that have them, you can buy the what it's intended for is like if you're putting icing on a cake, whatever. But if you turn the can this way, then it pushes the product out. You turn the can upside straight up and you hit the button, then it's straight nitrous oxide that goes. And if you don't know what nitrous oxide is, when you go to the dentist and he gives you that gas and you get that funny feel, that's exactly what you get. You know, you could put it in a balloon and make you talk funny and all that. That's exactly what it is. But the problem with this is that nitrous oxide, when you take it straight nitrous oxide, it goes straight into the brain, and it's a straight effect on the brain. Now this is my contact information. It was a little shorter today. This is how you can get in touch with me if you can't see it. It's Mike Cook. My email is mcook@drugeducation.org. Along with this, you know, we have some hands-on stuff that we could do and show you. But if anybody has any questions they want to talk about, ask, please let me know. Just reach out. We'll talk about any question you got. If I don't know the answer, I'll be glad to say I don't have that answer, but I'll find out for you.